What's up? What's up? Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
Chat is popping. Good to see everybody.
That's cool. That's great to see everyone.
Also, I think I agree. This is the best. This is the best heart emoji. This is okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a quick ranking. Let me see how we can do this on the screen, because I'm pretty sure you can do this. Like
Do
you
a
can
little
do.
poll?
I think you can do like text and stuff.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay. There you go.
Let me see. Nope, I guess not. I thought you could do like a little like text overlay pretty easily. with like, I thought I'd seen something with like emojis and stuff. So instead, we're going to put it in the chat. So I'm going to throw them in there, and we're going to do, all right, I'm going to be Riff and Refine, and we're going to put them in there. So this is emoji number 1. This is heart option number 1.
I don't even know if this poll works.
Oh, snap. That was dope. How'd you do that?
I figured it out. Oh, but you already voted for it. I didn't know
no.
which
That
option.
worked. Oh, I think you type 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, or 4 in chat.
1, 2, 3, or 4.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I did not know you could do that. All right, and then this is another one that I'm going to put out here because this one's like one of my favorites because it's like, and it's my favorite to not send it to my wife. Like I love, like, to me, this is like you send it to somebody that you care about, but you don't have like romantic feelings
Your
for.
buds. Your buds with.
Yeah, like you're just
Yeah.
like heart to heart. Like my heart is going out to you.
No.
Like
I use the heart.
I don't think I ever use any
Slack a lot.
Yeah. I don't ever use actual heart emojis, but then my favorite, the reason why I like the kissy heart emoji is because it to me it's like a sassy response to somebody. So it's like somebody says something and then you do something as like a response in a way that's kind of like a one up or something. Like
yeah.
I love like a little like kissy heart emoji as like a one up response, as like a sassy reply. You don't send any heart emojis ever. Exactly. I don't send heart emojis to like
like to your actual wife.
Like my actual wife. Yeah.
I send
I forget that Allie's off in the summer and now she's gonna be around on this.
Sassy or lessy? I don't know what that means, but
sassy.
Sassy.
Yes.
Yeah, I send the kissing emoji a lot, but only to my wife. I mean, I guess I've done it, in a sassy way before, but like that is the only other heart emoji that I will use.
Yeah.
I do like the sparkling heart.
Yeah, sorry, Jesse. We should have caught that. That went right over.
Yeah, I didn't. I do like the little sparkling heart. That's my like second option. That's a nice one. It's kind of like it's not too sweet. But it's kind of like that. Oh, flashy.
Yes. Alrighty. Josh, what have you been up to since we last chatted?
Yeah, I have this so basically I have been up to almost nothing. Because this week and next week I am taking off from my work for the second half of my parental leave, which is fun. What's up, Perez? I actually hung out with Perez, who's in the comments right now. This past week. But yeah, so like I with Laravel, I had 2 weeks that I took off right when my daughter was born, when Callie was born, and I had 2 weeks that I could take off up until 6 months.
It's always my favorite, the delayed leave.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, oh, I didn't want to take it off too close because then like Laracon's coming up and there's all that stuff. So like I was like, okay, I'll just take it off now, basically. And so this week and next week I have it off, which is nice because I've literally gotten so many. I haven't done too much around the house, but I've gotten so many appointments scheduled. Like literally,
like every doctor's appointment, every
doctors, dentists. Like,
oh man, so I should probably go back to the dentist at some point.
that has been my since we last spoke. That has been my week. A lot of
appointments,
alternative work.
Okay, well, here, let me ask you this then. Here's a question that I always have for people, which is like when you are at a doctor's appointment by yourself, which is like very rare once you're a parent. It's like, nope, I'm just always like at some kid's appointment. And so what I do is I watch kids and make sure that they don't lose their mind. But when you're at an appointment on your own, like what is like quiet free time where you're like not around like a computer or around your spouse? Like what is that? How do you use that time? Yeah, like it doesn't come around often.
be like, no, I'm literally asking you, what is it like? Um,
No, seriously, please tell me.
tell me. I wanna dream. I honestly like I always have those goals of like, oh, like, while I'm waiting for this, or like, while my car's getting doing this, like
Mhm,
maybe I'll bring a book and I'll do that. I always have that. But like the things that I usually do is either I just sit in silence and I just stare off
mm,
into space,
mhm, mhm.
or I do it so it's like, okay, I'm good doing that, and then like I have something else planned during that time or whatever.
Right.
But at
Chat.
a doctor's appointment, I just sit there.
Yeah. Okay, chat. Hit
I
us.
try not
Hit
to
us
look at
with
my
what
phone
you
too
got.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I want to hear what chat has to say about
yeah,
this.
what is
So
your what's the
here,
best way to phrase that? Like what's your go-to uh
my go-to is
waiting
always like
stuff?
always have a book. Always have a book. That is like me. Like if nothing else, there
Because then
is
you gotta
some
bring the
book.
book into the appointment though
No,
with you.
I don't. I don't. I have Kindle on
Got
my
a
phone.
backpack? Oh,
Kindle
okay,
on my
okay.
phone, always. That is just
Well,
like my like ever since I got Kindle, I just always have a book. Like it's just always there. And like it's
see,
my way of like not doom scrolling and being on social media that much
yeah.
because it's which it is like hit or miss because sometimes I'll like have a book and I'll like be in between books and I can't get started on like a new book. And so I'll have those like those other times. But yeah, no, I always have a book. But one thing that I really like about doing conference talks, which I think I'm going to take a whole break from them next year, but one thing that I really like about conference talks is that I get to like when I'm in those moments, I think. Like, I just stop and think because I'm like, "Oh, man, I need to figure out what I'm gonna say." I have this whole, like, project, this topic, this thing that I'm, like, trying to, like, figure out, and so I will do a lot more just, like, sitting there and being because it, like, gives me the space to, like, percolate on ideas that are just, like, floating around in my head, and I don't do enough of that. So, like, that's one thing I like about having a talk on the horizon is it just, like, is like a forcing function for just, like, being, which is
Yeah.
not something that, I'm the best at doing, because that's usually, like, either I'm on X or I'm scrolling through, like, a book or something, but, yeah, chat you tell us what y'all are usually if you ever have that, like, that rare and precious commodity that is downtime alone, what do you do? Carl says that he's usually on his laptop or on YouTube. Carl, what's your YouTube of choice? What are you
Yeah.
watching, like, when you're on
Especially like
YouTube?
during those times, like when you're trying to
Yeah,
turn
exactly.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna learn something about my job." What's your, like, your side YouTube? It might even be your main one. You may not watch YouTube for other stuff. Alright. I usually plan or design my next steps for whatever project. Yeah, let me tell you, us chronic side project people,
Oh
that is
man.
100% what it
See,
is.
that's what it has been recently for me though, to be honest, is like a lot of almost like chatting with either Claude or GPT about like, hey, like I'm learning
Yes.
about this. What's the next thing I should learn? Like, or just like
Yeah,
literally,
digging into
and
something. Yep.
yeah, like reading research papers from ChatGPT or
Basically.
Claude.
Yeah, 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 100%. I do that a whole lot more now than I used to. Also read Jesse's a big paper book guy. I'm, like, 0% surprised that Jesse brings paper books around with him. Video editing, gaming news, tech news. Gotcha. That makes sense to me. Alright. Um, as for what I have been up to, it has been it's just it's summertime. It's more the same
Mm,
stuff. It's like thinking on my talk. This last week, I finished like the full script for my talk. Script, like I write it all out, everything that I'm going to say and do, and then I start working on slides. And then what happens when I work on slides is that I redo my entire talk again.
yep.
um, so like now I'm like storyboarding out my slides for like what are the big points that I want to make on like actual slides, thinking about the flow as I'm like trying to say it, and I'm trying to nail down the vibe, which has been coined. The vibe has been coined as flubber. So let me see if I can. Here we go. We'll screen share real quick. Do screen share. We'll do an entire second screen. Here we go. This is it. Yeah, maybe later. So this is the vibe. Let me share this up here. Boom.
Ooh,
All right.
okay.
And this is like very like this was literally I put this together in like 5 minutes just to kind of get a vibe for it.
Yeah.
But like what I like decided that I'm going to do is like I'm going to do this and I'm going to like hand draw stuff on top of things. Like I'm going to have
Okay.
like a little character guy who's throughout my so I'm going to build all of these using Reveal.js on my slides using Reveal.js. So it'll be like browser based and I will be able to like do whatever you can do in a browser. So I can do like animated like images. I can do like GIFs or video or like there's like CSS tricks that you can do to like have like animated like keyframe based animation type stuff too. But I'm gonna have like this like little character that's like a part of my slides. And then Allie was like, "Yeah, this is like giving me like Flubber vibes," and I was like, "Dude, I'm all in on that. That's like my
Wow.
childhood." And so
Flubber
I'm
is
gonna like,
such a good movie.
it is so good. So I'm gonna do like extra stuff. Like this is the general vibe, but I'm gonna add more detail. Like I think I'll add like highlights and like shadow, like very sketch based stuff to just kind of like make each slide pop, as they say. But yeah, that's the vibe. That's not what I meant to do. This is what I
Yeah,
meant
like
to do.
you and then you stop talking like for just like that short little second. Yeah, I love that. Like it reminds me of, and like if you think about it, what's the like the Flubber is almost like the perfect analogy because
It-
it was like this thing that no one knew how to feel about at the time. There was new rules that had to get put into place because of it.
Mhm. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
We could
It's
go
just
real
so
deep
good.
into this
Such a we could
this
go as deep
analogy.
as we possibly wanted. But, like, how did he even come up with the idea for Flubber?
That's a good point. I want I have not dove into, but I bet there is a lot of like fanfic for
Oh,
Flubber
like the
theories
Flubber
and stuff like
universe?
that.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Flubber
goodness.
universe.
Let me tell you, that is, like, one thing that okay, so I'm a huge reader, like, big time reader, but I'm not, like I used to not really understand fan fiction, um, because I was just like, why would you make up stories about stories? You know, like the stories are there, just read the stories. But then like I don't know what triggered it, but I had this like I think I was like reading through a series and what happened was that there was like a really good premise for a book.
Mm,
Like they did this really good job doing this like world building. It was like a very interesting setup for the whole thing. But then the author wrote like one and a half, he wrote a total of 3 books. But he tried for only like one and a half of them. So like the first book was like one of my favorite books I've ever read.
mm,
The second one was like, this is still really good. But you could kind of tell that he started kind of like rushing the end of the second book. And then the third book took like it was like 3 years later. And then he was just like, I'm done with this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so it was just like, all right, let me wrap things up and like give you an ending and we're moving on. And I was like, "Oh, man, maybe I get fan fiction now." It's like you fall in love with the world that got built,
yeah.
this fictional world of like, this is super interesting to me. Like, it's very cool what they did and like came up with. But you just want more to happen inside of this. And I felt like gypped. I felt like I got gypped. Like this was too good. You did such a good job. And then you just decided you forget that there's a human behind it, behind your
Mm,
stories
yeah.
and he just was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah.
Bye."
Yeah. And like it's one of those things where, it spins off like its own creativity. Like I'm sure some people who like I have not watched uh I don't watch a lot of movies in theaters, but I
Mhm.
keep up with like a lot of like that world.
Mm,
And
mhm.
like one of the popular like indie technically indie films that is
Mhm.
just released is Backrooms, which is essentially a horror-esque movie built on fanfic of these Backrooms alternate theories and worlds for the past 20 years or whatever.
Mm. Mhm,
So it's
mhm.
essentially like imagine all of these someone puts out their like a little own little creativity into the universe. Konnichiwa, Henry. Good to see you. Someone puts like their own little creativity out into like the universe and the world, and then someone else is like, "Oh, that's really cool, but what if like this happened?" And then all of a sudden, you have years of work, and then even
Yes.
like full movies being created from it in that sense too.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, used to not get it. Now I get it. I don't
You're like,
read
right?
too
No,
much
I
of
get
it. Like, I don't think I've ever read any fan fiction, but
it. No,
that was like the moment for like, okay, I get it. You felt like you like really bought into something.
yep,
And you saw a lot of like potential and opportunity there. And a person who created it can only do so much unless your name is Brandon Sanderson, in which case like you're unstoppable and you write a million books. So what's up, Henri? Okay, Josh. I have a topic for today, but I want to
ooh,
check in
okay.
with you to see if you had one that you wanted to chitty chat
Yeah,
about.
the part that I want to talk about, because like we kind of like skipped over it last week because it was kind of like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
everyone's talking about it, but then like everything changed. I wanted to just
Mhm.
talk about, just since we're on the topic of AI, like what does I want to talk specifically about how much like AI has control over our day to day, but then also
Mhm.
like,
Okay.
okay, everyone was like loving Fable. It got
Mhm.
like taken back, taken away, and
Oh,
now
yeah.
everyone is like, oh,
The
like I
drama.
missed this, but you only had it for like 3 days.
Yeah, also, it feels like I just don't mm, how do I say this? I think that anyone who is like, "Oh, no, like, I miss Fable so much, like, how dare they take it from me?" Like, what do you like, what can you not do with it?
Yeah,
Like, what was so good about it that you can't get what you want done? Like, I guess it just has to be, like, the perfect combination of, like, something comes out right when you are doing a lot of work, and maybe
yeah,
that's it. Like, maybe there is
yeah,
some overlap where somebody was like, "Oh, like, I have this huge idea, this huge project that I have been working on for, like, a week. There's a bunch more work left to do." So, like, you've been working on this one idea with a previous model, and now you're like, "Well, let me use this new model for it and see how it turns out," like, working in the same way where you've kind of, like, already done a lot of the preparation, so you can just jump right into a real test of, like, how good the output of something is. But there is nothing that is just more like, "Yeah, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care," than people who are like, "I one shot this with Fable, and this is what I got." I'm like,
yeah.
"That is not interesting to me at all." Like, there is no piece of content where you tell me that you one shot something that I'm like, "That is very interesting, I want to know more." Like, I don't know, like, it's just not. Oh, I'll let you talk about it for a minute while I think about, like, why, but, like, there's a very specific reason why that's not interesting to me. I need to put some thought behind, like,
Some
what
formulation.
how to phrase it, but, like, maybe you feel different or similar.
See, the thing about it is I did actually heavily use it for the 3 days or whatever, 2 days, 2.5
Mhm.
days, whatever it was before they took it away. So like I understand because um like I accidentally spent a couple $100 because like I forgot to turn off the
Right.
top off
Mm-hmm.
credits.
Right.
And then I also like upgraded my account just because I was like, okay, I might as well at this point.
Yeah, try it out. Yep.
And here's why I think
What did you put it on? Like what tasks were you using it for?
I was using it for new features for the harness that I'm building, or the
Ooh, okay.
orchestrator I'm building. Use it for new features. I also used it for auditing and like basically like, hey, like here's like an old demo application. Like tell me of like all the things that it should, or like even like current side projects. Like, hey, here's a current side project. Like literally review it. Tell me like what is like let's clean up the code using this skill. Let's do all this. Basically like sent it on like either cleanup projects and auditing or whole
Mm-hmm.
new features.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why I think like people like it's just basic human nature at the end of the day, because it was one of the best. Like I think there's, unless like you have extensive progress within like 5.5 or even 4.7,
Mm-hmm.
where kind of like how to massage like those models
Like
and get it to work
your
with you.
experience with working with the model.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The Fable seemed like the most, I'm just going to create a prompt and it's a
And
good
get
prompt and
good results
I
without
get good
extra
results.
massaging.
It
Gotcha.
was like the
Okay.
microwave. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a microwave dinner of
Mm-hmm.
AI. And I don't think we've had that too much to this point, because
Mm-hmm.
everything has kind of had to been like even like before Fable, like the 3 days before Fable release was like, oh, it's all about loops. And then it's like we just put it into a loop or a slash goal. And that kind of
Mm-hmm.
got you there, but it took longer because it's iterating, and then like you don't know what broke halfway through, and then you're like, actually that's not what I wanted at all.
At all.
And so
Yeah.
I
Like
think
it got off on a tangent, and because it's looping, it just continues to get further and further and further away.
yep, exactly.
Oh, that reminds me of okay. This is I saw this the other day, yesterday to be exact, and I was like, this is really good. Um, so let's see if we can find it. All right. We're going on a mission through my ex together. Gary. Yep, right here. All right. So, Gary, very well known, very competent engineer. And he had this really good thread where it's like, I'm an old programmer by programming standards. And he says, I use agents daily, extensively. And then he was like, here's a view from the other side of, wow, look how many lines it wrote taken from my work today. And he just like, he goes through this like process of using GPT 5.5, where it was like, it wrote 700-ish lines of code, and there was all this like paranoia, unnecessary indirection, complicated manual mocking. Like it was all this
Mm,
extra stuff in the
yeah.
shape of like, this sounds good because it seems defensive. It does these like extra things so that like you can do all this like test, like this manual mocking piece, to be like, oh, let's test all possible things. So it mocks a ton of stuff. And there was like the API surface area was 2 to 3 times the required size. And he was like, corrected the nonsense, brought it down to like this much more like actual footprint that it should be at this point. And then he was like, GPT wrote a 700-ish word spec. And like it was very vague, didn't have a lot of like explanation on like what actual work needed to be done. And then he was like, so I wrote a 223 word spec that locked all the behavior down exactly how it needed to be. Um, and he was like, this was on like completely new subsystems. And he's like, if you let it dump all this, slop it, like let's say you put this system without doing this like refine pass on it, and you do this one subsystem, and then you layer on something else on top of this, is like kind of what he was getting at. Was it was just like this, uh let's say it only adds 1.9x or whatever extra stuff that isn't necessary to the code.
Mhm.
um his comment was basically like, all the agentic work that comes after this just compounds this even more to work over and work around the extra convolutedness that was implemented before that. And I was like, this is a really good, really, really good thread on engineering, like reality boots on the ground type thing, where it's like, hey, like, can you get good results out like being agent first? Yes. But like you've got to keep a pretty tight rein on, like, especially in it when it's new. Like if it's on a like an old system where like the patterns already exist, as you and me have talked about, like it's a lot easier to keep it on the rails. But anytime you do something new, if you're not scoping things and tightening the hatches down and keeping things within reason, like things will balloon. You'll get like all this slop. Um, and it seems like people who like were using Fable said that that happened a lot less. So
Yeah.
maybe that's another reason why.
Yeah. And
But it's
I
just,
agree with that.
I don't know. Like I'm still just like, how can you get that in 3 days? Like
And like here's the
I
other
don't
thing I
know.
think of. It's like, and I saw someone, I forget who it was. I think it was Shad Sia, and I like on Twitter. Someone
Mhm.
said, like, let me see if I can find it. Someone was like,
Shad's had a really good topic that he's been talking about lately, which is just like getting the right abstractions. And he's like just had this like ongoing monologue about like the work it takes to get to good abstractions.
okay,
And so
here's the
that's been
one.
really interesting.
Here's the one I'm thinking of. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick.
Also, Henri, typos are just the riff and refine of writing, so like you're good. You're at the right place for typos here. Just riff a sentence and then you refine it after.
All right. Not that one. This one. Pop.
Ooh, light mode.
So I've been learning Pygame. I know I have light mode. I've been learning Pygame this weekend, reading docs and writing code. Let me tell you, nothing comes close to changing a line and tabbing to see your changes. Slowly seeing your code turn into something,
Mhm,
calling a new
mhm.
function, and seeing something appear on the screen. Prompting will never. Not saying we should go back. I won't. Just realizing how much I love this.
That's so
Like
true. That is so true. Okay.
I think there's like so much that we like forget how fast AI has come along. And so you see Fable one shine things and you're like, oh, like I can't like I've like 2 years ago, I couldn't even tab and it complete my function name for me with the brackets in the right
Mhm,
spot or whatever
mhm,
3 years
mhm.
ago.
Very true.
That stuff is crazy.
Okay. Okay, so this is a really good tweet, and I think I can tell you in my mind. I can tell you what's going on right here.
Okay.
Um, I think that what people are missing is that people are jumping to prompt.
Okay.
Like they're jumping to manufacturing before they've done the creative work that they need to do. And so like the disconnect between like where he's talking about this, where he's like slowly seeing your code turn into something, calling functions, seeing something appear on the screen. What he's discussing here is like the creative part of building something, where he's like, I'm still trying to figure out how this works, how to make this thing. And so it's like the actual writing of the code is like what he's trying to do here is trying to figure out how something should even work.
Yeah.
And I do think in that case, like you should be working at a much smaller scale. Like you don't want to just be like, "Hey, I want this thing, go do it." And then be like, "Ah, do I like this?" after the fact. Um because like the and this is like I put this may be like my most ignored tweet of all time. Go to my profile
Let's
since
do
you're
it.
already sharing. Let's go to Will's profile.
Will King.
Yep,
Bam.
yep, yep. All right. And then scroll down. There should be one down here. Yep, here we go. Right here. This is my favorite line from my talk so far. Um, and then, of course, the
I'll,
queen
I'll go
right
back
below.
so it fits a little
No,
bit
no,
better.
it's fine.
There we
It's
go.
fine. All right. So it says, this is like my favorite quote, which is, the output of creativity is not the artifacts you make along the way. The output is the understanding you gained while making them.
Hmm, okay.
That's like he's in the why it feels better is because he's currently in the creative phase of
Yeah.
like creating like of product work.
Yeah.
Like he is learning how to make a game, he's learning something new. So like the goal is not to just make an artifact and be like, ta-da. Like
Yeah.
no, like the goal of make you have to make things that help you understand what you're trying to do. So that's why it felt better. But I would argue that like once you know, like once you've done that enough, like you've experimented enough, you've explored enough, and you know exactly what the output needs to be, then like there is no difference from writing the code than prompting the code at that point because you've
Yeah.
done all the exploration to define your understanding of what you're making. And I think
Yeah.
that's what people are having a problem with is like they are mixing the creative part of our work with the manufacturing part of our work and not putting the right separation of concerns between them. And so like they're doing manufacturing processes over the top of creative work and it feels bad because it is bad, you know.
It's like it feels bad because it is bad. It's like that one meme. But yeah, Carl says the amount of time I attempt to build something, I've only half thought through. I agree, and that's why, like, it's funny because there's two, I don't know, tools or ways of using AI that I have really adopted, and I think
Mhm.
it's because of stuff like this, where I'm definitely not in a code editor as much as I probably should or like want to be, like doing tabs and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but things like agentation, I built my own version of that. I kind of talked about like a
Mhm.
couple of months ago. Um, where like you select something, you're literally in your app, especially like it's a web app. You select something, you're like, I don't like how this looks. Let's change it to this. Or like this whole thing looks a little off or too small, too big, too
Mhm.
this feels
Mhm.
weird. I like I like that because it puts me back into the creative process of me being like, okay, uh, I'm not just gonna be like, "Oh, this whole page needs to get done, try again." I'm gonna, like,
Mhm.
embed myself into having these particular opinions about things. And then the second thing
Mhm.
is voice mode, which I've done a lot more recently. Why?
I
Because
can't get into voice mode. Like I have yet to try it, but I feel like I need to because
here's the
of what you're
reason.
probably about to say.
Yeah, because the agentation only goes so far. Because then I like to think through things linearly as I'm like, let's say like my process for building a feature is um like just typing out or talking through the feature saying, hey, this is what I should do. When you click this, this is what happens. In order to that, these are the models that we're going to have. It should relate to like the user model in this particular way. And so I'll either type that out or speak that out. And so that's my one prompt. Let's say
Mhm.
like Fable, Opus, GPT 5.5, it completes it and it does it a decent job. It's working in its particular sense. But then I like going through it, making modifications with agentation or like actually visual modifications. But then
Mhm.
I'm literally talking as I'm looking through this, essentially speaking my thoughts like, oh yeah, when I click that, it shouldn't do this. And so now I'm going into this, and now oh yeah, like I actually like when I scroll too far, it doesn't, it breaks halfway through, and that should pop over to the other side. And so I'm literally like
Mhm.
talking through my thought process. But even though I'm on a different page because it's text to speech, I use like
Right.
monologue right now. I say that, and then I pop over into Codex or something, and then it just
Right.
writes all that text. So now I
Yep.
have
Yep.
like
Yep.
my
Yep.
whole thought process of like the last 4 minutes of me
Mhm.
user testing in a way.
Yeah. 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 No,
That's why I'm bullish on that.
that's a really yeah, that's exactly what it was. Okay, so the another thing that I've heard phrased this way. So, Jamie Gannon is she does like a lot of brand design. She did the database school branding for Aaron. And
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
I met her when I was in at ValioCon. She was one of the other speakers. but she says that like the saying "a picture is worth 1,000 words" is 100% true. Like a picture is worth 1,000 words. And the reason why she
Okay.
says that is she says like she's like this is in the context of like using Midjourney or using
Yeah.
like Nana
Is
Banana,
Midjourney
like
still a thing?
whatever. Oh yeah, big time. So like
Is
if
that
you're
really? Is that
if
the
you're
best
into
one?
like brand design and stuff like that,
Interesting.
there are like obviously other ones. So like she has like this whole course. I'm not going to get into it right now, but
There
yes,
you go.
it is still a thing. But like what she was referring to is that it's like if you're trying to generate something visual and you're trying to fit a certain vibe, and the way she does it is she says like, okay, she puts up a picture and she says, describe this picture to me.
Hmm.
And like she like shows this like description that it's like a woman, it's the middle of the day, she's wearing a white top and blue bottoms, blah 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 blah. And then she's like, okay, let's say you know a little bit more about like photography and fashion, and she like adds a description that's a little more descriptive than
Okay,
that.
let's see.
um
Yeah.
and then she says like, here's if I give this picture to like Claude or chat or whatever and say describe this picture, and she shows like what what the AI model can put out as a description of this image. And
Yeah.
it's like just this extremely nuanced detail thing that like we just don't have the patience to do. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
sure, we could in theory do all of that, but we're not going to. We cut corners because like we can make connections between things, but like you're not
No.
talking to other people, like you're talking to like models. And so like
Mm.
her point with that was like, instead of trying to prompt, she was like, I don't try to prompt Midjourney or like these other models with words to get what I want. I just give them enough references and just use the text to like point it in the right direction, but let all
Mm.
the like the images do the talking for like what I'm trying to do. And so like I feel like that's the same way with like using voice to text. It's like if you're typing, you're gonna be lazy. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna try to cut corners, you're gonna try to like do this in as little typing as possible. So like voice mode lets you like ramble because it's a lot easier to talk than it is to type and add like nuance and detail and wax poetic, so to speak.
Yeah. It makes sense what she said too, because I have found that I am not I have not dove too deep into image generation with AI, other than Nano Banana Pro, Nano Banana 2, anything ChatGPT. I used to try Midjourney, but I have not. Obviously, I didn't even know it was still a thing. For some reason, I thought Nano Banana was better than Midjourney, or like whatever model Midjourney is using. But I have noticed that the things that I use it for, which is granted small subset of like what most people might use it for designs, but I will like have maybe a design that I built or like I made. Let's say like most of the design stuff I do is like 1080p, like either thumbnails or like basically like slides and stuff for church or something like that. The thing that I found most useful is if I have built something out, or if I find something that I really like that has been like, I like the style. I like taking those two things and being basically like, hey, here's my thing. Let's make this the same, but in like this style. And also I'm like, it's the best. And then I will like either take that and put it back into Figma and like recreate it myself, or like I'll then just like continue to like prompt it based on like specific suggestions. But I think like it's funny because we don't think of it. I wish there was like a way to essentially have people who are in different fields teach other people who are in other fields how they are using AI,
Mm-hmm.
because developers don't do that in a lot of ways. You don't usually give references when you are saying, hey, like, let's build this feature.
Right. Right. Oh man, I do all the like that's how I get my best output.
Yep.
That's why I like pattern based like what we talk about with like foot gun, like getting rid of foot guns and getting like things with more guardrails on it.
Yep.
Like that's it. Like, hey, here are these files that have this pattern. Like I'm trying to implement this feature, but I want it to follow this same pattern here. Like reference all of this to
Yep.
do what I want to do on this. So
Yep.
100%, 100%.
Yep.
Like that I think people are like missing out on is like that is like how to level up agents better is like don't use just your words as like the basis for your what you're building. Like you should have
Yep.
built up artifacts, you should have built up references by the time that you get to the manufacturing piece of the work. So that you're not working off of like hot air.
Yep. And that's what I love doing. And I think more and more documentation, I think, is going to start to lean into, especially within like developer tooling, is like instead of it being, hey, here's how to do this. And so here's how to work with queues. Here's how to work with, like specific context or whatever that might look like. And I think it's going to be more of, hey, here's a full implementation of a, of like a full queue or a full job, or here's a full implementation of how to do a Kanban board with like this. Because then the AI does such a great job at saying, oh, hey, here's like that 1,000, 4,000 line file. I'm just going to take that and put it into the context of like my particular app. Or I love doing one of the things I love doing within Claude Code or Cursor is pointing it to other directories and saying, hey, in a
Mm,
previous demo application or previous like side project I built, I actually already figured this out, or we've already figured
yes,
this out with AI.
yes, yes,
Look at this
yes,
code
yes.
and essentially replicate it,
There
but
is
just for our application.
there is something that I like have been noodling on, which is just like you know how you kind of have like you have dot files that lets you get set up
Yep.
on and like you have dot files and then you have like components, like a component library or whatever where it's like, hey, here's a collection of like components that I actually care about.
Okay. Yeah.
Um I think that people should have like design pattern repos where it's
Okay.
like, hey, here is the shape of these things that I like. Like this is how I like to do things
Yeah.
as like a reference code block, like with
Okay.
really good comments, with really good like maybe it's like a skill, like a skill in the sense that like um the skill can like point to the right place for these design patterns that you commonly use. So it's like anytime you come across something that's like, hey, this is the design pattern that I care about, like
Yeah.
maybe you need to document that. And like hopefully, like what you and me have talked about, like hopefully like the language and the framework that you work in does a lot of that work for you. But there are always layers on top. Where like for example at Snowflake, one of the patterns that like why we built directly into our like service is that like there's like everything is dependency injected. um like you cannot, like you don't call a function, you first like you have factories for the functions where you pass in all the dependencies, and then like now you have a version of that function
Yeah.
that like so it's like super easy to test, it's super easy to like switch out between like different services, etc. And like we specifically built it this way because like we were a brand new product, we did not have any back end to support the front end that we needed to write, but we had like a very
Mm.
short time period to ship it. And so like we had to build a whole lot of like mocked interface stuff for like here's what it should look like. And so like being able to switch between those became super important, and it's just a good practice in
Yeah.
general. But like Laravel like has all the like dependency injection stuff built into the framework itself. Go, which is the back language, does not, so you have to like write like we had to add that as like a fixed pattern in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like that's something that is like now ingrained in like anytime we work with an agent. It's like, hey, here is how we build backend features. we use like, and we've like built like done this like whole like scaffold of like, here is what the shape should look like. You just fill in the gaps, and
Yeah.
it like saves so much time anytime we're writing a new feature. But yeah, like I think there should be. I think you should have like design pattern repositories for like personal patterns that you like really like to use over and over, kind of
Yeah.
like what you said.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, we can wrap it up with this one.
I love it. This
It's
is
what
the
we
big one though.
this is what we titled this is what yeah was what we titled the episode off of, but I thought it'd be fun to riff on this a little bit today. So like one of the big things that I'm talking about as like part of my talk is like this concept of like, where do ideas come from? So
Okay.
I want to ask you, before I share any of my thinking or my thoughts on it, I want I want y'all to reply to this. And Josh, I want you to reply to this. I want you to say, I want your answer when I ask the question, where do ideas come from?
Just completely
Just tell me.
generic.
Tell me, where do ideas come from?
Broad as possible. Broad as the daylight and as the
Yeah,
day
like
is long. Something.
that's it. It's open-ended.
My thought for where do ideas come from,
Hey, buddy.
and I'll preface this of where do my good ideas come from? Because I think there's like two sides of things. One,
Hold on to that thought. I have a child
there we go.
who just woke up from nap, and Allie left with one of our other children. So
Oh,
I'm gonna go
no.
get him. I'm gonna go get him set up. If you want
Okay.
to talk with chat
I will
or
talk with
think on
chat.
this for a second, I will be back very soon. But until then, think
Where do
on
ideas
this.
come from? Ask him.
BRB. This is the fun part of a live show.
Okay, they come from wherever my sleep went to, says Mark. See, that's where that's why I'm trying to preface this like into two categories. Because good ideas can come from something. Bad ideas can come from a completely different place. And most of the time, you're not going to get the same good ideas and bad ideas from the same place. Will is British now. Where is the Henri? I'm having a hard time. What is the correlation between British and nanny? Or are you saying Allie is the nanny? And that's what we have to do. I'm a little confused, but you can let me know. In other ways, we'll bring it back to a Taco Bell conversation. For those in the chat, what is your go-to Taco Bell item if you have had Taco Bell? If you had not, Seth, random connections in my convoluted brain. Usually there's an inspiration I see that connects with something I know, and voila, got a new one. See, that's where I'm gonna kind of go with it once Will gets back. It's kind of like that thing where and this is maybe where most people with good ideas that come from like in this like creative type realm would say that they have some form of ADD, because usually it's like, hey, I was thinking about like, I don't know, Taco Bell. And then I was thinking, oh, I like to order Taco Bell and have it delivered to my house. And then it's thinking, oh, but like, imagine if I could find out which is cheaper, because I don't know if Taco Bell delivery is cheaper, or if I don't know if Postmates delivery is cheaper, like Uber Eats delivery is cheaper, or whatever that. And then it's like, oh, well, maybe I could look into every single app to do it. And then it's like, oh, what if I had an app that grabbed all of those APIs and then I could immediately know at that given moment which is cheaper to order Taco Bell? Is it cheaper to order from the Taco Bell app or Uber Eats, Postmates, or DoorDash? And that's where ideas
How
come
am I not surprised that somehow by the time I came back, we were talking about Taco Bell?
Well, I initially asked everyone, I was like, what's your go-to Taco Bell item? Because I didn't want to dive too much into the thought, like
fair.
ideas thing.
That's fair.
But then Seth mentioned like these random connections. And I was like, that's a lot of. I remember specifically as a kid,
Mhm.
you're daydreaming, and maybe this is
Mhm.
me, and maybe this is I kind of mentioned that I think most creative people, or just people who would say, "Hey, I have like these random ideas or side projects." Most of them are ADD to some extent, and I know that
Mhm.
I probably am. I've never had
Mhm.
tests or anything like that.
Right, right,
Uh,
right.
See you later, Jesse. We'll be back. Oh, we'll be back.
Will got
I think that's what you're saying, unless you're saying we'll be back. Uh,
him.
but I remember as a kid, I would daydream and like I would be thinking about like the sky, and then I would be like, oh, like that sky looks like a that sky that cloud looks like a slide. And then I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I was like on the playground that one time and I jumped so far off of the swing at the playground that I
Mhm.
could do a front flip. And then I was thinking about, oh, like remember that Razor VHS
Mhm.
that I have
Mhm.
where they did 3 front flips into the foam pit? And then
Mm,
I'd be
mhm.
thinking, "Oh, like, a foam pit would be pretty cool to have in our backyard." And then I think like, "Oh, but I've never learned how to do a backflip, so I probably would have to do that into a foam pit first." And, like, I don't know if
Yeah,
anyone else's
yeah,
brain is like
yeah,
that, but that is
yes.
literally how my
Oh, that
brain
is
has
my brain.
been
That is my brain. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
since childhood. And so what I was agreeing with Seth is usually the good ideas come from when I am in a healthy state. So,
Mhm.
AKA, I am not like thinking because I'm haven't slept in 2 days,
Sure.
where I'm like, "Oh, I am working on something." And then I would be like, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could literally not spend that last 20 minutes doing that?" And then
Mhm.
I automate it, or then it becomes like a new project. That's
Mhm.
usually where my good ideas come from.
Mhm.
Me doing something, having an idea, or thinking about some random other thing that is somehow connected,
Mhm.
and then realizing that it's all connected.
It's all connected. Then
It's
suddenly
all
you're the guy
connected.
from It's Sunny in Philadelphia, and you've
Pepe
got, like,
Sylvia.
wires all over.
Yeah.
That's my brain.
That is literally my brain.
Okay. Alright,
That's where
so
I think ideas come from. Good ideas come from problems, or repeated solutions that you've had.
okay. I love this. Random connections, usually there's inspiration and that you connect it with something that you know. That's really good. I love that. Um, LOL, the British guy who's, like, on a very important call and the kid just walks in the back. That is, like, me on the reg very often. It is just some kid just wanders in my office.
I see what you mean.
Um, this is really good. Good ideas typically come from a bunch of bad ideas not working quite right.
I can see that.
So
I can
yeah,
see that.
that is also part of it for sure. And I'm saying part of it as if like I know the right answer to this, but I will just share what my answer is based on all my experience. And Josh, I'd say that you got pretty dang close to nailing it. So this
It's
is
the
like what
exact
I
opposite.
this is the way that I would define like where do ideas come from? And that is one sec. Let me actually read it because I wrote it down. All right. So where do ideas come from? An idea is the result of your experiences reacting with your expertise. So, one more time. An idea is the result of your experiences reacting with your expertise. So, think of
I
it
like
like
that.
this. Um I in my talk I'm like classifying ways to get better, like creative muscles and like how to get better at them. One muscle is like your capacity for creativity. So this is like what I'm kind of defining it as like how good are you at coming up with ideas? Like how can you increase your ability to come up with ideas, new material basically. So like that's your
Mm.
capacity. And so like part of that is like how like well, like you have to understand what an idea is. Like, where do ideas come from? So, idea like creativity always has a catalyst. There has to be a catalyst. There has to be something that initiates you to be creative. And like the idea is directly a result of like something that you're experiencing, which you talk about, Josh, and like
Yeah.
what y'all are talking about here, where it's like, hey, I was doing this thing, I was experiencing something, I was trying something new, I was like walking through a park, um, and something happened, and I
Mm.
noticed it happen. I noticed it happen, and it made me feel something. It made me feel some kind of way. Maybe I felt frustrated. Maybe I felt annoyed. Maybe I thought, "Oh, that's super cool." Maybe like flipping in a foam pit. I thought, "Wow, that's awesome." So like that is like the experience. The reaction is like how it makes you feel, and then like the idea is the result of filtering those through whatever you have expertise in. So like whatever you have expert, like whatever your ability is to bring something real and like make something, that is like what you filter all of your ideas through. So
Okay.
John Rudolph Drexler, he actually talked about this in like a podcast episode of his, where he was like, I noticed that like all of my best game ideas come when I'm just out walking around in the like I'm just out doing something. I don't
Yep.
have my phone in my hand. I'm not sitting at a desk being like, come up with a good idea, come up with a good idea. He's like, but I am still in the mindset of like I want to make a game. So like when I have an experience and I have a reaction to it, I'm filtering it through this lens of like I want to build a game. And like
Mm.
that's what happens with like people like artists. Like
Yep.
artists experience thing in the world, and like what is their expertise? It's like whatever their art, like painting or sculpting or whatever, like the way that they express that idea is through where they have their expertise. And so like that is like what I would classify as like where ideas come from. Now to talk um to talk to what uh, Mark mentioned here, which is like a good ideas typically come from a bunch of bad ideas working. Is like, okay, so this is just how any idea becomes,
Yep.
a reaction to your experiences. How good idea come good how you get good ideas is exactly this, where it's like it's the other piece of that. Like there's the what did I call it? Capacity, and then there's the
Mm.
craft. Like good ideas come from exploring all of your ideas and exploring every path that your idea could take so that you eliminate all the bad ones, so the only thing that's left has to be the good one. That's the result. Like that's what good ideas are, is like the process of like exploring and then filtering down paths, so that you don't find the good ideas because like there's some magic to it, or like you were just born more creative than somebody else. Like no, like creativity is about being like relentless, like
Yep.
you don't get good ideas because like there's some magic to it. You get good ideas because you're like relentless enough that a good idea is inevitable.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I will add one caveat, and I don't know. We'll probably agree with this anyways, so it
Hit
doesn't
me.
matter if we're if we're in disagreement. But my one caveat is, I think that people, especially like if we're talking about like creative ideas, like people who would say like, and I think like most ideas are creative, but if you're
Mhm,
specifically in like the creative realm of, I don't know, making designs or like
mhm.
some kind of even for code in a lot of ways. And
Yeah,
most people
like
like,
like code is a medium,
yep,
like there's creativity that is involved in finding the right patterns and abstractions for how like your program is engineered.
and most people know this even before AI, like within coding or development. It's like, okay, like I can sit down and I can force myself, and the output is going to be there. Or there's going to be those times when you're laying in bed and all of a sudden you remember, oh, that's how like this works, and figures out. Same thing with like, oh, I got a song idea while I was on
Mm,
a walk, or a game
mhm,
idea I got was on a walk.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I think I think one of the things, my caveat is, yes, it comes from those experiences, but we can also train ourselves to produce better output and more consistent output on a schedule as well. Like
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
songwriters,
100%.
good like artists will say this as well, where it's like, okay, like I most of the time I'll probably have my best ideas when I'm, you know, like not anywhere away from a studio, and they'll put it into like a phone recording, and all of a sudden like that's a hit song. Like Charlie Puth has done that a lot of times.
Mhm.
Or most people will also say that at the same time of like, yeah, I started to get those good ideas after I did 3 hours every single day just putting out crap ideas
Right,
and
by
making it happen.
building more experiences.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Also, and now, like, another piece of it is, like, where did you get like, when you did something for 3 hours, like, how did you come up with those things that you made for those 3 hours? Like, it
Yep,
had to have been from past
something.
experiences that you
Yep.
like, it had to be from something, like so, yeah, like, that's, like, a big section in my talk is just, like, your capacity is like directly correlated to like how broad you like your experience how broad your experiences are and how deep your expertise is, because like the better you are at something, the more ideas that you can come up with too, because like you understand the medium that you're working in so much better.
Mm. Yep. So you can't force yourself to replicate the bored output of creativity, but you can
No, you
force
can't.
yourself to replicate building experiences that can influence your bored creativity.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's a very good point. That there's like this the whole of this there's just some this is like what makes my talk so hard is that like so many layers that like you could go into on this, which is like um one concept that you can talk about is that how good like ideas are perfect by nature. Because like an idea is not real. An idea just lives in your head and it's fuzzy. And like this is like a line that I'm trying to figure out is that like the reason why like artists have to paint, why designer like and a designer can't just have an idea for an interface and just be like, yep, this is the right one. You have to bring it to reality because our brains have lossy compression.
No.
Like our brains purposefully remove like detail from ideas to focus on like the big picture of it. And so like you have to have an idea meet reality to like to force yourself to confront like the fuzzy parts of an idea,
Yep.
like the edge cases, like all the rough edges. Like you an idea isn't good until it's made real because there's too much that you don't know about it.
Yep.
So there's like that's the craft part of it is like you have to make ideas real. They have to meet reality because like our brains are like have lossy compression.
I this is an interesting one right here that we can wrap it up with. But
Oh, this is so
that's
good.
why
Like
ideas are
this.
not patentable. Okay,
Oh,
that was
sorry.
it.
This one, all of them. So
All
I
of them,
always saw
all of
this one right when you were reading through that one. This one, like Henri, your comment that like ideas can burgeon from blog post comments. So you always read them. Like ideas can burgeon from like anywhere. Also, what a fun word, burgeon. Like I like
them.
this you cannot predict where like some experience will overlap with your expertise in a way that causes that reaction. You cannot predict it. So like you just have to be someone who like like tries to do more
Hmm.
and like experience more and like notice more.
Yep.
And then yes, that's why ideas aren't patentable because they've not met reality. There's no proof.
Yep.
Idea as lossy compression is super. Thank you. I when I had that
I
idea, I
do
was
like
like,
that.
I'm
I
at a
do like that.
developer, conference. I was like, this is gonna slap. Like people are gonna get this. Like lossy compression, developers nailed it. There we go.
And bring it full circle to the waiting room question. Research more. That is why,
Yeah.
literally, like my wife kind of hates that at some point because I'll be like in bed, and she's be like, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "It's just literally a Chat GPT conversation." where it's me researching about just random things. Yesterday I was researching sound bars, and so I did like research mode because I wanted to buy a sound bar. And so I was spending all
Mhm.
this time like researching. But then I got ideas of like, oh, maybe like I could maybe I could like rebuild our sound bar because the only thing that's broken with it, I think, is just the power outlet. Like it doesn't turn on anymore. And
Mhm.
then so I started researching of like, okay, what is like the actual detailed documentation for like after I take it apart, what would I need to do? So I started looking into like power capacitors and
Yes,
stuff like
yes,
this.
yes, yes. Exploration, research, it's
Loss
all
and
there. It's all in
compression.
it. It's great.
It's
It's
all
great.
connected.
It's all connected. Let me I'm literally gonna be on the Laracon stage with just wires every I'm now gonna I need to figure out how to work that into my talk because it's good. I'm just like, I know that it feels like this has been me up here, but
That is that's what the title should have been. It's all
what
connected.
it's all connected. All right, what are you up to next week?
Next week, yeah, I'm still off of work. So like my goal is one to get all like the boring adult stuff out of the way. But then
Right,
two,
right, right.
I have a couple like fun ideas I'm toying around with, like when we're talking about ideas. I have a fun
Mhm.
like couple ideas I'm toying around with. I still want to complete the orchestrator. Now I have like some extra time to do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it's like I'm building. I shifted a little bit. It used to be a like more like a Slack like interface,
Mhm.
and it'd be just, oh, okay, like there's multiple agents that you can tag is essentially in a project
Right.
room, and you could do that. And it was working fine. But I realized I liked keeping like notes, and there wasn't a good clean way to like keep notes and thoughts and like
Mhm.
ideas in the same room that I'm talking with an agent.
So like just these interactions were causing just reactions and connections, all these ideas. So you needed somewhere to capture
Yeah,
all
and
these
it's like
great ideas.
I think Slack's Canva or like Sketchpad stuff is horrible. I am not a fan of it because it is so disconnected from literally everything else.
Literally
It's like a
everything. Yep.
whole nother tab. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I how do I get here again? And so I
Mhm.
switched everything and I rebuilt most of the app. So now it is like an infinite canvas where you can open up new windows in this canvas of like, here's a
Mhm.
Claude Code window, here's a Codex window. Everything can connect to each other, but then I could have my own notes and docs and even drawings and stuff like that all in one canvas.
Ooh. And then like the chats live inside the canvas as well.
Chats live inside the canvas.
How
Yep.
you're gonna have to give me a demo of this because I'm trying to picture this. Like I had this similar idea where it's just like everything is just a canvas. Like everything like
Everything. It's all connected.
it's all connected. It's all connected. Like for real though, like when you're in the creative part of like the work, like you just need it all to exist there
Yep.
together. So you can just picture
And
it.
that's and that's I
Connect.
kind
Like
of
when you have things, you can be like, all right, throw back to this. Like I don't want to have uploaded this and now it's like 50 years back in the thread. Like, no, I
yep.
want to just like, hey, check it. Take a look at this again. You know,
And I
like
kind of got most of the idea, like if we're talking about ideas again, I kind of got most of the ideas like from uh I I have been using, like, Figma more and more for, like, note
mhm.
taking almost.
Mhm. Oh,
Because like,
really?
I'll have, like, this, and then I'll have, like, my project
Mhm.
because it's all I want my notes correlated to the project. I'm not gonna open up Notion and then be like, "Oh, like, let
Yeah,
me
like,
link to this
why
project and be there."
there's no need, there's no reason, and, like, even better if you can have, like, AI connect like exactly, like, AI connected to the canvas where your creative process is happening.
Yep. So the
That
goal
is,
is
like,
in
what
this
I've
one
been in the search
canvas
of, is
in
one
this one
canvas
canvas,
to
you
rule
can
them
open
all.
up a browser, so you can have, like, a Figma browser in there that
Ooh. Yep, yep,
design
yep.
stays in there as well, but then also, like, you can open up, your preview browser in there. It's all just, like, one canvas so that you
Mhm,
can
and you can,
zoom
like,
out.
expand them
Mm,
and collapse them and
yep,
bebop around. Man,
and it's all multiplayer, so
I love picturing things as, like, on like, a visual, like, canvas and space. Ah, so good.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to demo this soon.
So the goal maybe next week I can have a workable demo. Like,
Ooh, are there, like, nodes? Like, have you done this piece yet? Like, can the agent chat create new nodes and things on the canvas for you?
Yes,
because
I have done
that
this
is
piece.
sick.
Because it is all so like the agent chat can direct with and then talk to other agents and other nodes, and you can essentially like create new nodes from agents or even like from your, it can reference its own notes, docs, other things because it's all MCP connected.
Mhm.
But the part that I'm up against now, which is the fun part for me in a lot of ways, is like most of this is 99% of this has all been uh like AI generated. Like it's all been like Claude, Codex, everything else. And so the next part is I'm coming up against so many performance issues. It's an Electron
Mhm.
app. And so like I am researching Electron performance best practices basically
Mhm.
and figuring out, okay, like
Mhm.
where am I going wrong? Like I want this to
Right,
be
like, what can I do to fine
smooth.
tune this? I guess
Yep.
that's why you're like, "Man, Fable is
Without
so
rebuilding
great."
Rust.
Quick, Fable, fix all my performance issues. Okay, so
Make this do it.
what this I saw this is from Ben Vinegar. He's making, a modem, which is like and he was
Oh, I
like,
saw this too. Yeah, yeah.
used to work at, like, Sentry. I think he was, like, co-founder of Sentry, but met him at React Miami. Very cool dude, but he was showing this, which is just, like, there is so much like work that happen like when you're working with an agent there is so much creative work that is going on that like we don't have the right tools yet to like help you be creative with agents and like
Yeah.
this I love this as which I'm glad that I'm saying this out loud now because I'm like save this image this is now going to go in my talk um but yeah, this idea where he's like, as you're chatting with it, it knows how to in this example, like there is like a what he's calling a sideshow server where it's like
Mm,
it can output HTML to help explain things that we are going through visually for me so
yeah.
that like there is this like back and forth, this visual component to this chat that we're having so that it like and I was just like, this is so good. Like this, I don't think that's the right final boss of like what this
Yeah.
is, but like that's the right direction for all of this. Like we need to be able to like output more artifacts to help you, like you said, like the goal of a creative process is not the artifacts that you make. It's like the understanding. So like whatever you need to build, whatever you need to explore to get there,
Yeah.
like build whatever you want because like your only goal is to get to this point of understanding and like
Yeah. And it
anyway.
seems like more and more people are realizing that HTML output of agents is good for like that diagram stuff. I'm curious. I have not messed with it yet, so I haven't. That's one thing that I might play around with. See how it's go.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
What about you? What's next week?
Oh, next week, we are headed to the beach on Friday. I will be gone next week from the show, because we are on family vacay.
There you
Palmer's
go.
birthday is on Sunday. She turns 7, and it's also Father's Day, so no Father's Day for me this year. It's just our kid's birthday. Um, but yeah, like we're gonna be down there. I'm gonna use that time. So like I've got my iPad charged up. Um and I'm going to try and like do a lot of my like slide designs while I'm down there because I've got like a pretty good idea of like how I want to visually show things at this point. So it's like if I can spend like the downtime when it's
Yeah.
not family time, like in the evenings after the kids go to sleep and like we're just kind of hanging out, like if I could use that time to just like bust out when I'm off of work some of the work that I want to do. I'm going to do a lot of like illustrated. I'm doing a new approach. I'm doing a lot less words and I want to do a lot more like illustrations for
Yeah.
communicating stuff because I think it would be fun. And we're it's all about trying new things, exploring new experiences, as they say. So that's what I'll be up to. All
I
right.
love it. I love it.
A good
Gonna be a
week,
fun week then.
a good
Good week.
episode. I hope Hope y'all enjoyed it. It was really fun. Y'all, thanks for all like the engagement on the idea stuff. It's
Yeah.
helping me refine my talk as I riff it out here for y'all.
Gotta keep it.
But
Gotta
yes,
keep it connected.
I'm also so ready for Laracon as soon as I finish my talk. Until then, Laracon can wait.
Like, I'm not ready yet, but
like I'm very
I
excited,
will.
but
I love it.
oh, sweet. All
Sweet.
right. Later.
Have a good one, everyone.